I was extremely guilty of being attracted to fast money instead of proper money. And that in itself is dangerous.
I mean, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but it was kind of setting me up for a second question. But when you got caught with intent to supply, had you already been doing stuff prior at that point?
Yeah, I mean, it had been going on for about 4 years.
So, and I guess the reason I asked the question then is because we talk about the impatience to fast track to something better, but then do you think that's also maybe an excuse as well, that if you hadn't have been caught, you'd have still been doing it and still been doing it, because ultimately what kind of, once you get that taste, you probably slip into that world, and the easy money probably lasts, you think it lasts forever.
Yeah, I think that I was extremely guilty of being attracted to fast money instead of proper money. And that meant that I would always have a few £1,000 on the hip, but I never actually was building anything of substance, anything of value. And that in itself is dangerous because it's a repeating cycle. It reloads itself every single week. You get that cash on the hip, you throw a few bottles of champagne around in the club on a Saturday, and then you're back to square one on Monday. And that's kind of how my life was. And it was stupid. It was a bubble that, you fool yourself into thinking is the real world. And then when you actually get out into the real world and you realize how business works, you realize how real people actually operate, you realize just how deluded you were in trying to make that work for yourself on any kind of a long-term platform.
Had you picked up any of your own properties at this point?
Yes.
You had started to buy some buy-to-lets?
Yeah, I had 3 buy-to-lets under my name. One of them actually got repossessed because I wasn't making the payments. And the other 2 I sold recently, so yeah.
And I mean, tell me about that arrest day. I mean, I assume you were never expecting it. You sat at home and the door gets kicked in?
Yeah, it was. I think I did feel it coming. A few people around me had been arrested. It was coming, and for me, it was just a foolishness because I actually didn't know what else to do. So I just carried on riding my luck. And then at 6 a.m, front door comes through, and guns pointed at me and everything. And then I get put into the police car, and there it was. And then I was on bail for about a year, 12 months.
On bail, not on remand?
No. I was on bail, and that was probably torturous in itself because you know what's coming. It's not like you go into meeting with your solicitor and then the solicitor goes, "Oh, don't worry, what we're going to do is say this, this, and this." It was like, first meeting, yeah, you're looking at 3 years. I was like, what? 3 years? Having that news the first time was like, I can't even explain to you the feeling I got in my stomach, because regardless of whether you should be getting that sentence or you shouldn't be getting that sentence, getting the news that that's going to happen is like the most shocking bit of news you could ever receive. And for me, it was horrendous. And so living with that cloud over your head for like 12 months, rehabilitating yourself early. My dad is a bit more old school. He wanted my brother to be a plumber, which he was at the time, and me to be an electrician. So I went and did an electrical course, got my qualification while I was on bail, started doing work that way. And of course, the court cases were coming up and all this sort of stuff. And then I got slammed with 40 months. I thought it was very harsh for what it was, but it is what it is. You stupid points get stupid prizes, I guess is the saying.